Hey, do you remember the time when the rally car got added into the newest Trackmania? Don't worry if you don't, I'm pretty late with that, but today we are going to have a look at some rally campaign action. So this is going to be a rally discovery campaign, but not just the standard maps, these are going to be checkpointless maps. All of the checkpoints removed without replacing them with anything, and so far as you can see, nothing really too crazy is going on. This is actually going to be the case for most of the maps. Rally car is made for driving on the ground. Therefore the maps are mostly built in a very specific way. There are no big jumps or crazy tricks and the roads are pretty close together. If you take that and remove all the checkpoints, you get some very simple maps that will be mostly about finding shortcuts rather than finding ways to overcome weird obstacles. Well, and just as I said that, we have a first map that is a counterexample. The issue here is that if you cross the first gap, you are forced to drive with a rally car and there is no way you can cross any of the later gaps like that. Therefore, the only way to beat the map is by staying with the stadium car. I spoiled it a bit already with the start of the run. You can try to make a guess if it's going to be a stadium roof jump or a dragon eat. I will give you a moment. 3, 2, 1. Alright, it's a dragon eat. It was pretty easy to guess, the stadium roof map would have more than one finisher probably. The run we are watching is also the map's validation, so pretty much nobody bothered to try to beat the map once it was proven to be doable. The flight here is really long, but the car will land perfectly onto the last road. A nice display of some air control precision. From there you can just drive to the finish without any worries, and as I said, this map is a bit of a unique one in the campaign, and I think I'm safe to say that it was also the most difficult one we have had. For a contrast, we switched to an absolutely trivial map, as this one is identical to the original. All of the checkpoints used here are gate checkpoints, which are placed on top of the regular blocks, meaning that if we remove them, nothing changes. As a bonus information, I also mentioned how these records would look like on the original track. I'd say they are pretty well hunted here. And now we have a very similar case, as this one also does not have any impactful differences compared to the normal track from the original campaign. Here, however, the gaps between OG map records and checkpointless version records are much bigger. I guess it might be caused by the fact that previous map does not use the rally car, or by the fact that the original map has a weird trickster at the end that nobody bothered hunting here. Alright, here we have another map, and this one also starts pretty normally, but don't worry, there will be some actual differences, you will see that near the end. In the meantime, we can watch the close fight between the players. They are swapping positions while still remaining in a pack together. And oh no, the drivers lose control, and what happened? It's the finish line right in front of them, what a lucky coincidence! I can't believe what we have just witnessed, and there's another race that started already. This video is amazing, non-stop action, what a crazy campaign and such a wonderful records driven by the coolest people on earth. Okay, let's get back to being normal. This is map number 7, and apart from the hole that you have to avoid near the start, the rest is just about driving the same lines as you would normally do. Again, a lot of these maps will be very simple, and a lot of them will be just about cutting the entire track straight to the end. But we will still see some really solid driving and some interesting tricks to optimize the runs. I'd say you can learn quite a lot of new things about the game while playing these maps, because they just put you in all of these unusual scenarios. It might not help you while playing Cup of the Day, as you just want to stay on roads there, but for example, if you play khaki tracks, you will surely find yourself in a spot where you are supposed to do a lot of unconventional things. So you just never know, and having more game knowledge does not hurt. What does hurt is that we have a multi-lap track that can't be a part of the campaign. Every multi-lap map must have at least one checkpoint, so that makes the checkpointless version impossible to create. Okay, now everyone full focus, as we have an interesting track. First of all, we are going to watch the world record way, and it starts by going out of the start block without triggering the rally car transformation. This is also something that I did while validating the track, but after that I just returned to the map and tried to follow the regular path. What AR did instead was going for the reactor boost flight directly to the finish. This just skips the entire map and you don't have to worry about finding ways to jump over the holes in the bobsleigh roads. Here it was done flawlessly, and let's switch back to the start to see what this second place did. This time we are taking the rally car and going the regular path. We are about to reach the reactor boost gate, and in this run it will also be used for a shortcut. All of the new cars that got added to the game in the recent months do not work that well with reactor boosts, so it is probably not possible to fly directly to the finish, but even cutting 2 or 3 turns already saves a lot of time. The bad thing is that you still have some obstacles to overcome, and they are quite tricky because of the icy tires handling. But in the end the run was pretty clean, and now it's time for the third place. This one just follows the bobsleighs all the way without any shortcuts. It is pretty rare to see a map where everyone in the podium uses a different way of beating a track, and I'm always really happy to showcase such things. Creativity is what I love the most in this game, and you have to be very creative to find your own individual strategies to solve the issues. Anyway, the last section is pretty much the same. Great job by the drivers, I hope the viewers enjoyed the map as well. Now we switch back to these dirt, grassy types of maps where removing the checkpoints is not so impactful, but on this map it will actually cause a little bit of trouble. But first, we have an interesting shortcut done by AR once again, really trying hard to make these maps as exciting to watch as possible. Few more turns and now we actually have one hole that has to be avoided. Luckily, the mappers were kind enough to put this grassy hill on the side. The world record run is the only one that uses the shortcut, so the gap to the second place is pretty big. If you don't use the shortcut, however, you can just easily follow the normal path in that section, as presented right now. There is this short slalom section followed by a long dirt turn, then we have a small drop down, a bit of penalty dirt which slows the car down by quite a bit, and that's more or less the part where you land if you do the shortcut. The rest is the same, sadly you still have to skip that one missing checkpoint by jumping to the hills. As we see, the gap is pretty significant, so I'm a bit surprised that we don't have more shortcut records here. But maybe it is just more difficult than it looks. Can't say the same about this map, as it is exactly as easy as it looks. Easiest and shortest map of this campaign by a huge margin. The records are surprisingly not all tied, so there was actually some hunting involved. Just like on Trackmania, which starts with a big shortcut and a really nice pull from the water block border. Really well executed, and just a moment later we have another shortcut and another nice usage of the water edges. And this brings us near the finish of the map already. Pretty fun track. And Deep East is also a pretty fun track once you remove all the checkpoints. The first looping can be skipped very smoothly, and then you wanna continue up to the reactor boost turnaround. Except the cars are not going for the turnaround, but instead they fly directly for the finish line. That was also one of the most fun maps of this campaign. In general, I would say for me the most fun tracks are the ones where you can do some very satisfying shortcuts. The normal campaigns don't have that many cutting opportunities nowadays, so the cut finding community can be a bit bored in TM20. It's not quite the same on these remixed campaigns, as in theory they don't have any intended route, but finding fastest ways still feels pretty similar to finding shortcuts. And it is also a great training, as often you can't finish these checkpointless maps without searching for alternative ways. So that can help you later on with noticing some patterns or finding tricks that can be used to cut a track. And if you are not really that big of a fan of finding cuts or finding ways to finish maps in general, then I think reverse campaigns usually have more maps that are based just around standard driving. That's of course not a rule, there are some very weird maps in reverse as well, but it's often the case that a big portion of map is reused one-to-one, just in the opposite direction. Anyway, I got a bit off topic and we have a pretty unusual track which maybe needs a bit more context. This is one of the more complicated maps to finish, you can probably already tell seeing the podium times. So far we have had a lot of climbing on various hills. We are basically skipping as much of the map as we possibly can. Normally you would have rally car and a lot of holes to pass and also wet tires, so that's not a good combination at all. By going through all these climbs you can get onto this section, which is just a few climbs away from the finish area. This is the part which makes the huge difference between world record and the rest, because not getting the instant climb costs a lot of time, and if you get stuck somewhere it is very slow to recover, as the acceleration is pretty bad. So yeah, it's not that easy to get everything cleanly here. But Awesome Tom did, so that's a really solid job from him, GG. Did the players do a good job here? Let's find out. Well, I'm pretty sure they did. I don't remember a single time where I would be disappointed with the records. That's also partially why I still keep on making these campaigns, because I just love to watch some good records. And we are about to see another incredible record right now. We have a huge gap between first and second place, and this is not caused by different ways or anything. This is just all about how well performed this record is. Such a big difference is a rare sight, but a very satisfying one. Great job. And now we are moving to the first black map of the campaign. It might be hard to track that as we don't have numbers in the track names, but yeah, this is map number 21 already. And this one is a great surprise to me, as I was sure it's gonna be the same as the original map, but apparently there is a huge shortcut. Maybe I should be expecting this, as having a reactor boost is always a great tool for some smart strategies. The track name is also pretty fitting here, it even fits more on the checkpointless version, I would say, as you are going really off the road. Same thing here, as all the drivers decided that they don't want to have anything to do with these pesky roads at all. Climbing hills, going between trees, driving with that 100 speed cap, this is what having fun is all about. Not some silly asphalt or dirt paths created by the hell knows who. Stop letting the media manipulate you to use the roads, you can do whatever you like and there is nothing that can stop you. All of the greatest minds of Earth are known for their aversion towards roads. Humanity would not exist if this one ape 1 million years ago had not stepped down from the road to the banana factory and decided to hunt for chicken, to eat some meat and develop the big brain that we have nowadays. By the way, it's pretty fun that we have a track in the rally campaign that is fully played with the snow car, such a disrespect. Also, don't mind my rant on the previous map, I just have to make this commentary more enjoyable for myself by saying random things. Or was it a random thing? Or is it exactly what I believe? You can never know. Anyway, I was really hoping that going with the stadium car would magically turn out to be better than going with the rally car. And this would also be the way to drive on normal map, but no, it's like 8 seconds slower. You only use the stadium car here as it is much easier to go over the hole like that. Maybe with some better way to skip the rally transformation ring, it would be viable, but I don't know if there is any better way. We are approaching the hole that I mentioned earlier. I'm pretty sure jumping to the other side is also doable with the rally car, but you would probably need some lucky wall bounce. With stadium you just easily overjump it and also keep a lot of speed through the last turns. And look at this is the last map and luckily it got reduced to just 15 seconds from the original length of 3 minutes. In general, I would say that it was a really fun campaign with mostly pretty easy and simple tracks. Here we have the top 10 overall standings with a pretty close pack at the top 3. Drewniak at the first place, iTeach at second place and iCoco on third. Great job and thanks to everyone for playing the campaign. If you enjoy my videos, I would appreciate it if you subscribe or if you consider becoming a channel member. It would put a smile on my face for sure. Anyway, thanks for watching and a special thanks to my supporters. Goodbye, have a nice day.